And he says, well, this guy collected too much wealth. And you didn't use it himself. This is his punishment. And so on. So there are many, many instances like that. So the point is, he was trying to tell us that, well, your punishment is in accordance with your deeds. If you've done something wrong, you'll be punished for that part. In fact, there was one interesting part that I should mention. So there was this guy, he says he observed, that had pain all over his body. Everywhere it's pain and he's suffering and he's rotting and it's very, very horrible. Except this little foot. And that was quite okay. So Zoroastrian asked, Arda-e-Viraf asked Zoroastrian as to why this little foot is okay and the rest of the body is in pain. He says, well, this guy was lazy. He didn't do anything in life. But once, what he did was, there was this ox who was plowing a field and he used his leg to give him a little hay. So that was a good deed that his foot did. So that little part is okay. The rest of the body, he didn't do very much. Okay, so there are quite a few sins that he shows as being punished. So what are the sins that he saw as being punished? So, punishable sins are against a spouse, abuse and neglect. If you neglect your spouse, well, you're going to be paying for it. If you abuse a child, the same thing. You're going to be paying for it. He saw these people being punished. Against religion. If you renounce your religion, that's what Arda-e-Viraf says, if you renounce your religion, you're going to be there, because he found people who were there who had renounced their religion, who did magic, who used profanity. They were there. People who were against civil order were there. People who had false measurements were there. False justice, bad administration, they were there. People who mistreated their animals were there, and they were punished for it. People who were against themselves, laziness, vanity, excessive grief, miserliness, were there. So then those were his observations as to what was going on in heaven and hell. Now you will recall that he was sent there to find out two things. One, he found out what was it like. What was the second mission? Prayers. Prayers. Does our prayers reach there? What is the answer? Some yes, some no. Arda-e-Viraf is silent. He doesn't say a word about it, whether the prayers reach there or not. But there was this guy called Dante, an Italian poet. So that Italian poet in 1300 CE, after Christ, he wrote Divine Comedy. Divine Comedy. Now if you read Dante, you almost think that he borrowed the concept from Arda-e-Viraf. In his concept, he talks about quite a few things, somewhat similar, quite a bit similar to Arda-e-Viraf. But he mentions that people in purgatory crave for our prayers. That's what they want. When he visited them, they told them, please go back and tell them, pray for us. But people who are in hell, nobody says anything about prayers. They in fact tell him that, okay, ask them to forget us because we did so many things wrong while we were living. So Dante, he said that path to paradise begins in hell. Path to paradise begins in hell. And another of his quotes that I like, the secrets of getting things done is to do it. Do it and things will get done. So he describes heaven and hell in quite similar ways that Arda-e-Viraf does. So, then the question arises, is there a heaven or hell for animals? We don't know. But George Orwell, in his Animal Farm, describes that Moses, the raven, the kagro, he says that he claims to know of an existence of a mysterious country called Sugar Candy Mountains. Sugar Candy Mountains, to which all animals went when they died. It was situated somewhere up in the sky, a little distance away from clouds. In Sugar Candy Mountains, it was Sunday, 7 days a week, no work. Sundays, 7 days a week. Clover was in season all year round. And lump sugar and linseed cakes grew on the hedges. Is there really a heaven for animals? We don't know. Now, there was this health-conscious diabite and his wife Daiben, very health-conscious, very active, fit, and lived a frugal life. They retired, and now they were in their, 70s, 80s or so. They lived a good life. They always had bran muffin and light yogurt, health conscious. So they went for their 60th wedding anniversary to a nice restaurant, and on the way back, they were hit by a bus and died. So of course they went to heaven. As they went into heaven, Zoroastrianism was giving them a tour of their new place. So he took them to a beautiful 7-bedroom house. Beautiful place. And he said, this is your house now. So the Ayurveda says, well, what's the rent? They were frugal people, you know. What's the rent? And Zoroastrianism says, well, this is heaven. There is no rent. It's free. You just live here and enjoy. He was happy. He took a few steps, opened the back door. It's lush green area, and there's a big, beautiful golf course. Zoroastrianism says, well, go play golf as much as you like here. What are the tea fees? Well, this is heaven. There's nothing like it here. You just go and play as much as you like. It's free. Well, he was very happy. Then they said, okay, where do we eat? They said, okay, the next building. There is big buffet table with all sorts of food. Food of the world. Lots of fried chicken. Lots of things that were not good for you. Wasanu. And Malido and whatever you want that is there. Sorry? Yeah. It's there. Well, Daiben was upset. She tells Zoroastrianism, he can't eat this. What about his cholesterol? Zoroastrianism says, he's dead already. Don't worry about it. And besides, this is heaven. No cholesterol here. Eat whatever you like, as much as you like, no problem. Then you can see Dayabai getting angry. He was angry. He was so angry, he turns to Daiben and says, it's all your fault. She says, what's my fault? What did I do? It's all because of your bran muffins and your light yogurt. Otherwise, I would have been here 10 years ago. So what is it like in heaven? We don't know. Does it mean that all fried foods, the food that we like to eat but are bad for us, we can eat as much as we like? We can have a perfect physique without working out? We don't know. Can we always look young and fit regardless of our age? We can gain knowledge without reading. And can we have endless energy without rest? We don't know. So everyone's concept of heaven is different. People think of heaven differently. We don't know what it is like, but it's what you think is in heaven really counts. So, some 40 years ago, John Lennon challenged us to think and to imagine. He said, imagine there is no heaven. Now, I'm not going to torture you with my singing abilities, but he said, imagine there is no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above only sky. He challenged us to believe that there is no heaven. And why did he do that? Because he believed that too much wrong has been done in the name of heaven. Too much wrong has been done in the name of heaven. People have been told that if you do a certain things which is otherwise evil, you can still go to heaven because you're doing it for a certain cause. So, Stephen Hawking, you all heard of him? One of the world's renowned scientists, believes that there is no heaven, and a belief that heaven or an afterlife exists is a fairy tale, he says, for people afraid to die. Most Marxists believe that heaven is a tool employed by authorities to bribe their subjects into a certain way of life by promising rewards after death. Heaven is what you believe. There is no real definition, no real answer to it. So, to different minds, the same word is hell and heaven, says Ralph Emerson. So then the next question, who goes to heaven? Who goes to heaven? So, John Newton, who wrote Amazing Grace, he said that when I go to heaven, I shall see three wonders. Three wonders. The first wonder will be to see people there that I did not expect to see. In-laws. The second one would be he will miss people that I would expect to see there. And the third one, a wonder that I am there myself. That's what he says. So, to put it differently, when we go to heaven, we will ask two questions, quite often. Two questions. Where is so-and-so? And the next question is, what are you doing here? Okay, so then the question arises, is heaven restricted to people of a certain faith? Do you have to be of a certain faith to go to heaven? So Pope Leo XII said that there is no salvation outside the church, meaning that you have to be Christian, not even Christian, a Catholic, to go to heaven. The Lutherans believe that salvation by God's grace alone, through faith alone, for the sake of Christ's merit alone. You have to be doing these things to go to heaven. Judaism, you know, concept of heaven and hell in Judaism is very, very close to ours. Judaism believes that all righteous people go to heaven. All righteous people go to heaven. Islam, well, you have to observe the 5 pillars of Islam, or if you are a martyr, if you die for the cause. Hinduism, well, there is no concept of heaven because there is always a rebirth till you find yourself moksha. So what does Zoroastrianism say? Do you have to be a Zarathustra to go to heaven? You know? So what does the scripture say? To the pious souls Ahura Mazda gives the good reward which their goodness has earned. It says, to pious souls, Ahura Mazda gives the good reward which their goodness has earned. Talks about nothing of being a judge. This is in Yasna. Those who have helped the Prophet in his great work are rewarded in spiritual world. Yasna 45. The good leave a good name and fame behind on earth and attain a reward in the abode of Ahura Mazda, Vaumana, and Asha in Yasna. So all these paragraphs say, if you are good, you get to go there. You don't have to be a Zarathustra, of course. The faith teaches us how to be good. If you live a life that is provided to you in our scriptures, then you have a pass, you have a ticket to go to heaven. Okay, so how are we judged for heaven? So one's own deeds on this earth decides whether you go to heaven or not. There is no forgiveness in it. Just because you did something and you ask for forgiveness, yes, you will be forgiven only after you pay your price. Just because you ask for forgiveness doesn't mean that your sin is wiped out. You still committed a sin. Okay. So there is no magic formula. No magic prayer to get rid of things, the bad things that you do. You have to pay for it.